All right. Good evening, Diane.
Yes, evening. It's Sunday. We missed a week. That was terrible.
That was not on me, but yeah, we did.
Yeah, we were closing out at the Syracuse State Fair, and we actually had a really excellent day there last Sunday. That was the record day for attendance. And this year's fair attendance was slightly down. I think it was a mere 868,000.
Oh, wow. Just that's it? Your
Yeah,
entire voting base, basically.
yeah. So we got out 10,000 pieces of literature to people coming through, which was excellent. Signed up hundreds of people, got out yard signs, etc. It really was very good. But oh, hi, Josh. Hi, it's good to see you. So I wanted to discuss, we had this article about the CEO of Palantir saying that protesters at Columbia should be shipped off to North Korea. That was apparently last April and May. Well, it was a conference last April. I don't think their view has changed, but I actually thought it would be useful to give our viewers a little refresher on what is going on there, why the case that South Africa brought to the International Court of Justice. Now it's horrible, but this is what, 10 months ago? It was
Yes.
January 26th, when the International Court of Justice ruled that South Africa had presented a compelling case and it was likely that genocide was occurring. And they urged Israel to cease and desist and allow humanitarian aid. And nothing of the sort has occurred. And the United States has been vetoing efforts at the United Nations. And there is a way to override that, which maybe you should say something about this Article 377.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Resolution 377. It's a resolution and it's a leaf. We've actually put the resolution on the leaflet under the auspice of my campaign with an introduction from me. This would give the General Assembly of the United Nations the power to act as the Security Council if the Security Council fails to act swiftly to either avoid a tragedy or to stop some kind of tragic event or some kind of atrocity, to stop an atrocity or to prevent an atrocity, where the General Assembly can vote on passing stuff like ceasefires as if it were the Security Council. And that's what we're doing with Resolution 377. And it's very timely because the UN is about to open up, I believe, in a week or so, or 2 weeks from now. Is that right, Diane?
Yeah, that's right. And the other actions that the UN General Assembly can do, which apparently have been brought up, are they can expel Israel, censure Israel. They also can recognize Palestine. And I do have to say, it's the height of hypocrisy for any American, the Biden administration. Let me emphasize Biden, Kamala Harris, this fraudulent candidate for president. They cannot call for a two-state solution and then not recognize a Palestinian state with equal negotiating powers as Israel. That is no basis to get peace. So that's the other thing that can be done. So what I wanted to do is just quickly do a little review of the situation on the ground from eyewitnesses who have gone there. Yes, so we're starting here. This actually came from CBS, and people can watch the interview live with this doctor. His name is Mark Perlmutter, and he went to work in the emergency rooms and surgery in Gaza. If you can go to the next, I guess I can control these here. I'll go ahead. Okay, so this is direct quotes from him. "I've seen more shredded children in just my first week." And you ask, what does he mean? He says what he means: missing body parts, being crushed by buildings, the greatest majority, or bomb explosions, the next greatest majority. Mark Perlmutter, vice president of the International College of Surgeons, also said, quote, "All of the disasters I've seen combined, 40 mission trips, 30 years, ground zero, earthquakes, all of them combined doesn't equal the level of carnage that I saw against civilians in just my first week in Gaza. And then the journalist says, "You're saying that children in Gaza are being shot by snipers?" He answers, "Definitively. I have two children that I have photographs of that were shot so perfectly in the chest, I couldn't put my stethoscope over their heart more accurately, and directly on the side of the head in the same child. No toddler gets shot twice by mistake by the quote unquote world's best sniper, and they're dead center shots," unquote. CBS also reported that more than 20 doctors they spoke to had also seen gunshot wounds in Palestinian children. One American doctor said he had to look again at CT scans because he said he didn't believe this many children could be admitted to a single hospital with gunshot wounds to the head. Okay. That's the doctors. That's what's going on the ground. So all these people, oh, there's no genocide. Oh, no, it's self-defense against children. The children they have the names of who have died are over 15,000. It's more than that. But the violence is spreading to the West Bank. Remember, the West Bank is not run by Hamas. It's run by the PLO. So what is the excuse for that? And we have here a couple of days ago, Turkish American young woman, Aysenur Ezgi Agi. She was 26 years old, and she was hit in the head by a sniper, most likely deliberately targeted. Now remember that, and you can go out of the slideshow for a second here. Thanks. So remember, the Israelis are using AI. So it means that they know exactly who they're targeting. I don't know if you recall this, Jose, but the poet Al-Arir, the one who wrote that beautiful and moving poem to his son about the kite.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
And what happened was he had received a notification on his cell phone that he was going to be liquidated. And he happened to be at a refugee camp at the time. And he said that he didn't want to lure the bomb onto the entire camp. So he left, ended up in an apartment with his sister and her children, and they were all killed. So they are locating people by their phones. This is new technology. Lindsey Graham also made the point when he was in Kiev recently, thanking the Ukrainians for letting us try out our new toys on them. I mean, this is really sick. It is really sick. The American so-called leadership are absolutely evil.
Absolutely. Our mutual friend in North Carolina actually had Dr. Mark Perlmutter on a webinar at the Beloved Community Center, and I got to hear him talk and give a Q&A about his experience in Palestine and in the Gaza Strip. And there were quite a number of remarkable things he said. That he only gets 2 weeks off in the year. I mean, this guy is always on call. He's always working. And he says he takes those 2 weeks off and he would go back. That's how he spent his 2 weeks going over there, because he said that's, if he's needed there, he'll go there. And he also said this too, for anybody who likes to give Diana and I grief about how we should only focus on domestic issues. Well, we should only focus on our community. We should only focus on our state. Dr. Mark Perlmutter said, when you take an oath to serve your community, what your community is gets redefined. And in his case, he said, it's not just Rocky Mount, North Carolina. My community is wherever I am needed. Wherever I am not, that place is failing because I'm not there. And so it took him to Gaza. And I just was really moved by that, and he says he's been having trouble sleeping ever since he came back, and he can't rectify in his mind why people would be doing this to children, let alone to anybody, but to children, and the things he's seen there. It's just, when will it actually end? And on that thing with Rafat, you brought up, the poet. I didn't know he had gotten a message from his phone, and he decided not to be near other people. That's absolutely crazy. I know him. Max Blumenthal writes about him, I think, in the 51-day war, where Rafat at there's a university, a school of Palestine, University of Palestine. He was teaching the Palestinians Shakespeare, and they were reading through The Merchant of Venice. And he was trying to get his students to empathize with the Israelis who are oppressing them, to humanize them, to see them as human beings. And, the fact that they went after him and they killed him, I mean, it's just absolutely sickening and horrifying, and I mean, I don't know what you must have heard about the general strike that happened in
Yeah.
Israel.
Yes.
I mean, to what
Well,
extent is
figure
go
I
ahead.
heard, the latest figure I heard, by the way, was 750,000 people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very good. I mean, that's some hope coming out of Israel, people who want Netanyahu's resignation. My understanding of why they did a general strike was because of the 6 hostages who were killed, and they said that it would have been prevented if the ceasefire negotiations had actually gone through, and they
Correct.
want Netanyahu out. And
Correct.
well, I hope that's true. I really do hope that's true.
They do want him out. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of people who still think they have to kill all the Palestinians or something like that. But the family members of the hostages don't think that. And you have to keep asking, what did Netanyahu know before October 7th? Because this border, the people living on these kibbutzes, a lot of them were actually working for peace with the Palestinians. So was he just as happy to be rid of those people? I don't know. Many of the family members of the hostages have been very strong for a ceasefire because they know that's the only way to save the lives of these people. We should not let people forget that the Israelis shot and killed 3 of the hostages who had escaped and were waving white flags and identifying themselves as Israelis, and the IDF shot and killed them. So, there are so many lies. The other thing the International Court of Justice warned is to not hide the evidence of the genocide. Now, frankly, I think it would be hard to hide. The whole place has been turned into rubble. I mean, pretty literally. But on this point, so it's a crime against humanity. We are complicit. The government of the United States is funding this, arming this, and there is no reason to think that a President Kamala Harris would change it. Unfortunately, it's not clear that a President Donald Trump would change it either. He has said really horrible things. He has clearly Christian Zionist and Zionist problems. So, the American people are complicit. How do you fight it? And now they want to do absolute crackdowns on the campuses. And that's what I find amazing, that you're not allowed to talk about the genocide. You're not allowed to protest these crimes against humanity, which are in full public view, which have been witnessed by thousands of people and very reputable people. This doctor you saw, he's the vice president of the College of Surgeons or something or other. I mean, he's a very prestigious medical doctor. There's no reason to think he's going to come back here and lie. But if you repeat what he's saying, you're accused of being an anti-Israel terrorist. And you have people like the executive of CEO of Palantir saying you should be shipped off to North Korea. You should be kicked out of your dorm. You shouldn't be allowed to eat in the cafeteria. It's actually amazing. It's actually amazing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, Anything else you want to bring up, Diane?
Well, I just wanted to go to my last slide because when Netanyahu made his horrible spectacle of visiting the Congress, of interest, he would not shake the hand of Chucky Schumer because Schumer had said that Netanyahu should leave. But here he is with my opponent, Kirsten Gillibrand, who's made many trips to Israel and done speeches regularly on various of the hostages. It's funny how she's not interested in talking about the hostages now, now that their families are calling for a ceasefire. Uh, she's not interested in it, but just wanted to show that. And you can take that down. There may be some things you want to say about your charming opponent, Richie Torres, and his work
Well,
with my congressman of all people. I can't believe it. Um, we have the two worst congressmen in the state between us. Anyway, go ahead.
yes. Well, I know that. Well, first of all, Richie Torres, I think, just got back from a trip in the Baltic Sea on a NATO-sponsored trip over
Right.
there. I don't know if you know about this. I mean, what is he doing over there when his district is the poorest congressional district in the country? What is it about this guy that they think they can just take him over to the Baltic Sea to go and support NATO when I guarantee you Richie Torres can't name more than 4 NATO countries? But more relevant to our discussion is the fact that him and Mike Lawler are both pushing for campuses to adopt anti-Semitism measures so that they can monitor for anti-Semitism, which really means they just want to create a surveillance state. Not that we don't already live in one, but in these campuses, highly monitor all of these college students and treat them like potential criminals rather than the people who could be making the cure for cancer or something, and treat them all like they're just rabid, progressive loonies or something that just are going to go and become disruptors. And I mean, these people pay what, like 80, 90, $100,000 to go to these Ivy League colleges, sometimes more, and then they're going to be treated like prisoners or prisoners to be, and that they shouldn't be allowed to think the wrong thing, even though it's supposed to be a college campus, an expression of free thought. And the fact that both of our congressmen, Mike Lawler, who's a Republican, and Richie Torres, who's a Democrat, are working together in this bipartisanship to look past the political lines and work together so we can really implement the surveillance state is just absolutely disgusting. And, it really puts the onus on the voter, because at a certain point, I was asked this question, Diane, if I blame the voters for the condition at which the United States is in right now. And I mean, I'm 25 years old. The people who came before me did mess up the country. They voted for Bush twice. Of course, I blame the voters. They voted for Obama twice. They put Trump in office and then they put Joe Biden in office, and some of them still had the gall to defend Biden even after the debates. Like, of course, I blame the voters,
Right.
because it's like, yes, I'm not afraid to criticize the people who may go out and vote for me. It's like, yeah, you did mess up. Now atone for it. I and anyway, I'm sorry. I went on a tangent there, but yeah, go ahead, Diane, if you wanted to respond to that.
No, I concurred. I had since today is Lyndon LaRouche's birthday. A few days ago, I used a section from his paper about democracy, and in fact, I think if we put the slides up, it's right there. It might be right there, which I thought was very interesting. Yeah, he says in this paper, he's calling for a director of political intelligence. The object is to end the arrangement under which most citizens lack the means to do more than contemplate and perhaps protest against proposed national policies from, so to speak, the underside. The task of a democratic government is to foster in the general electorate the competence to formulate policy. Isn't that something? And that was always his, we can go off, that was always his idea of leadership. A leadership is not a guy who marches around and says, do this, do that, or I'm going to hit your knuckles with my ruler. The leader is someone who produces other leaders.
Exactly. I agree. And I think what Lynn just said there, that a democratic government's role is to have the population, the citizenry, be the ones generating policy. Well, that's a completely different conception than what people have now. You know, a lot of people would say, "Oh, I work 9 to 5. I don't have time to think about these things. That's why I just vote Democrat easy because they're the people I trust." It's like, no, you're the most important thing in a democratic society. You're the one who needs to be generating the policy. We just act it out. I think what Lynn is saying there is absolutely right. Something we're very far away from, but something we need right now.
I agree. So we have about 60 days. Maybe you know, how many days is it?
58.
58 days until the elections, and it might be less than that to nuclear war. So I just want to say a couple of things, and you may have more. There's certain things coming up quickly. One is our Monday night call, and I do just want to say Monday at 8 p.m. I'm going to be live on with Chip Barnes on TikTok, but at 8:30, people who follow us should join the Zoom meeting with our campaigns. We'll both be sending out an email. You can email us to find out about that. I have a whole bunch of yard signs. I'm ordering a ton of palm cards and door hangers. You have posters that you're doing. We're going to have some fun this week in the Bronx, I think, with that wonderful friend that we just met from Hunts Point. So, yeah, we need volunteers. We need volunteers and we need funds, right? Or are you flush, Jose?
No. We're good. We're good here on the Vega campaign. We've got all we need till November 5th. No, of course we need funds. We need people as well too. And I have a little. There we go. Yeah,
Very
of course.
nice.
You know, if you can't donate your time, then donate your money. And if you can't donate your money, share what you just heard tonight on your social medias with your friends and your families. We need all the support that we can get. And this weekend is going to be a pretty action-packed weekend for the Vega Cut for Congress campaign. So if you're looking to get involved, this is the week to do it.
Yes,
So
and
reach
one
out.
last thing.
Campaign.
This week is the anniversary of 9/11, which I think is Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, Wednesday. And Hillary Clinton is having some disgusting hypocritical event about elections or something or other. She is so disgusting. But anyway, on Sunday, the Schiller Institute NYC Chorus is going to be holding its annual 9/11 memorial, and it's going to be in the Bronx, and it's going to be at Our Lady of Mount Carmel on Sunday, September 15th, and you can visit the Schiller Institute NYC Chorus website. I see Jose concentrating. It looks like he may be putting it up there. sinycchorus.com is the website. You can get tickets in advance. They're $20, or when you
Oh, no, that's not it. I got it.
Yeah.
Here we go. I got it. Coming up. Bam.
Okay.
Fixing
Here we go.
There we go. Now we got it.
There we go. That's the website, sinycchorus.com. You can go there.
Really rolls off the tongue.
What?
Yeah. I said it really rolls off the tongue.
Yes.
sinycchorus.com. Just very easy.
Right. So go there to buy tickets. And why don't you put up our websites to conclude, because we need people to donate and volunteer. So that's all I have. I think we can wrap up and hopefully get some sleep.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. We don't have an end card as usual. So